Hey guys, my name is Lauren Ellie, and I decided that today is the day I'm going to tell you my story. I've given you bits and pieces of it. I've even told myself that I was telling myself the whole story, but I really was just going through the motions and actually hiding from a lot of my story. And I got inspired to tell you all my story from a really good friend and teammate, Dana, who sparked my desire to get this out in the open as a step forward for me. So I'm just gonna go for it, and I just have bullet points so I don't forget anything. So if I'm not looking at you, that's why. Um, so, again, my name's Lauren. I live in Cape Cod, Massachusetts with my parents and my two younger sisters. I have a dog, Chloe. I have a cat, Pippin. I have a younger brother and an older stepsister. Um, my childhood was pretty good. Um, my family struggled with money, but me and my brother, we never knew it. Um, we did move around a lot, but I don't really remember much of it. I do remember bits and pieces, maybe. I mean, we moved all over Yarmouth and Hyannis and then Washington State, and my dad was in the Army Reserves. So we moved around for that, and then my mom took me and my brother back to the Cape because she missed her family. And when he came back, we were all together again. But my parents fought a lot. Me and my brother learned to stay quiet so we wouldn't get in trouble. And that's when I really got really close with my imagination. I would hide in my mind and tell myself stories because I could make anything happen in my imagination. Any dream I ever had, I could have in my imagination. I just had to play pretend. So I was in my head a lot. And then after moving a couple more times, my greatest fear happened that pretty much controlled my life until actually a couple years ago, maybe 5 years ago, maybe a little less than that. It was a long fear that held me hostage. I was trying to help someone, a little boy, who was Muslim, who was being bullied by the two neighborhood bullies. And he left his sandal in the road, and I picked it up and I threw it to him. And the two bullies told me that I now had foot disease and I was going to die. Now I know that they were just being really big jerks because the boy was Muslim. And something hit me though. Something made that fear bloom and turn it into a life-altering thing. I was terrified I was going to die. Every single day I thought I was going to die. I thought I had foot disease. I thought I had a brain tumor. I thought I had appendicitis and it was going to burst and I was going to die. I thought my brain was going to explode. I thought I had every cancer known to man. I became deathly afraid of dying. Totally irrational fear from being a child and having that actually leak into adulthood. It really changed me and made me a very anxious person. So I had that to deal with, and I never told my parents. I kept that to myself. So, yeah, that was pretty difficult for me to go through. And then we moved to Hyannis from Yarmouth, and I met my bully, who was my tormentor for, I want to say, 6 or 7 years. We met as I was just trying to make friends in the neighborhood. Saw she had a group of kids in her yard, so I was like, hey, let's go make friends. And then her cousin told her, anybody you don't want in your yard, tap them on the shoulder. She didn't tap me on the shoulder. She slapped me right across the face. And I cried and I ran home. And from that day forward, she was the bane of my existence, along with the fear of me feeling like I was going to die. I even remember one time I had to hide up in a tree for hours, and she was circling the area looking for me with a knife in her hand, threatening to kill me. So that was pretty rough. Fast forward, my brother was diagnosed with leukemia when I was in the 4th grade. And I don't really, he had it for 2 years, I think. I don't really remember much. I just remember one summer where my mom was living with my brother in the hospital and my dad was in the Ronald McDonald House in Boston. And I got shipped off to my aunt's house. And I felt abandoned. And I mean, I understood why they had to go, because they were with my brother and he was really sick and he needed them, but I needed them too, and I just felt abandoned and left behind. And then I was finally able to move with my dad into the Ronald McDonald House and get to see my brother. And I think that was at the tail end of his battle with cancer, and he's cured 20 odd years now, so that's great. So then my family was together again, and it was great. It was awesome. And then my parents got separated and divorced, and my brother went to go move in with my dad because he missed him, and it was just me and my mom. And it's like a double-edged sword for me, that experience, because on the one hand, I lost my dad and my brother, but on the other hand, me and mom became best friends. And we've been that way ever since. We still fight and everything, but we're really, really close. More so than I think a lot of mothers are with their daughters, and vice versa. But me and mom became really, really close. And then she met my stepdad, and we moved again. And I was the new girl again. And I had one friend in middle school. I was very, very shy. I was still deathly afraid that I was going to die. I still did not tell anyone. And I think it's kind of ridiculous because I was afraid that I was dying, but I did nothing to stop it, which maybe tells you a little bit about me and where I was back then. So middle school, I got to middle school in the last year of it. Started feeling a little better, aside from the whole scared of dying thing, once I got into high school. Made more friends. I was the type of person who would make friends with everybody. So I didn't have one clique. I was friends with, some jocks. I was friends with some goths and drama geeks and science geeks and whatever. Like, it didn't matter to me what your thing was. I was friends, or I tried to be friends in my little isolating way. I was still very shy, and very scared of what people thought of me. But I tried. And then 9/11 happened. And I remember the announcement in chemistry class. Was it chemistry? I think it was chemistry class. And the principal started talking about airplanes and bombs. And I really couldn't hear anything. And I didn't know what had happened until I got to my Spanish class and it was on the television. And I just stood there staring at it like it was a movie and it wasn't really real. And then I called my mom because everybody else was. So I'm like, okay, I'll call mom. And then she told me my cousin was in one of the towers. And I had never met him, and I never will, because he lost So then my parents went off to his funeral, and I was left to be on my own again. I was fine that whole week, you know. I was very good at shielding my emotions even from myself. So I blocked a lot out. I was even told once that I had no soul because I could just go blank. I could hide it even from myself so well that it was like I had no heart. But the first day back that my mom and stepdad were back, and it was a school day, I don't really remember, for some reason I asked Mom to drive me to school. And I wasn't feeling well, but I was going to go to school anyway. And she got to the parking lot, and I had a mental breakdown. I started bawling my eyes out. I couldn't breathe. My mom was terrified. She didn't know what was wrong with me. I didn't know what was wrong with me because I blocked everything out so well that I didn't know what the hell I was crying for. I was out of school for about 3 weeks, I think, because every time Mom tried to bring me to school, she was like, okay, we're going to try again. We're going to try again. I would lose it once we hit the parking lot. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I was in the house. I couldn't be near people. I couldn't be near people that I didn't know. I couldn't be in big crowds. I couldn't handle anything other than my family. I was fine at home, totally fine. But when it was morning and time to go to school, I would lose it. And that took me a really long time to break out of because I was sick of it. I didn't want to be controlled by my anxiety anymore. I didn't want to be that girl who missed school and everybody was talking about and why. It was a very hard first day back. I held on to my pass. My guidance counselor gave me a pass that I could leave class anytime, and I held on to that thing. And the first class I made it through was actually Spanish class, which was the same class that I found out about 9/11, which is a bit odd. But graduated high school, went to work for the summer. I started smoking cigarettes, smoking pot, drinking, living in a misery, still with the fear that I was going to die. And all I wanted to do was get off Cape. I didn't belong here. I was supposed to be somewhere else, be someone else, know different people. Every problem I had, I blamed it on the world. I was very negative. I was very dark. Yeah, it was a very dark, dark time for me. And then I went to college. And I picked Salem State because it was not on Cape. I did not want to go to 4Cs. No, no, no. My guidance counselor from high school was like, why not 4Cs? Because I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I'm like, no, I want to get off Cape. I do not want to be here. So I went to Salem State where I met my best friend. And, you know, I was like all excited because it's a new life. I'm a new person. I don't know anyone here. And I'm going to make new friends. I'm going to be who I want to be. And I'm going to prove myself to everyone. So my version of that was to smoke, show off my tattoos, because, hey, I got a tattoo. Check me out. Drink. And then one night I drank to prove myself. And I had about maybe 8 shots of whiskey, maybe 10 shots of vodka, and then some swigs in between. And I remember getting into the room and the Red Sox game was on. And I blinked and it was a hockey game. And I blinked and it was just me and a guy. Everyone else that was in the room was gone. And I was assaulted that night because I had too much to drink. I don't really remember much. I've never had flashbacks or any version of PTSD. But that pretty much stopped me from getting drunk ever again. I did drink, but I stopped myself before I hit the line because of what happened. And I didn't even think that it was assault, because I do remember moments where it was like I was giving permission, but I spoke to a therapist years later, and she confirmed that it was. And I accepted that because I had gone past it. I don't know if I really did or not. But it was a life-changing moment. And then I had to leave school because I ran out of financial aid. So my misery imploded some more because I had to go back to the Cape. And I hated the Cape. And I worked at a grocery store again. I'd worked on and off for years there. And it wasn't where I wanted to be, yada, yada, yada. Finally, me and my best friend decided, enough is enough. We hate it here. So, North Carolina, here I come. I was still drinking, still smoking. I was done with pot for a while at that point. But we moved to North Carolina. I was free. I was independent. I had my own place with 2 friends. And it was going great. We were training for the Warrior Dash, and I became like a health Nazi, really, because I think I was burying the fact that I missed my family, and I was just putting all my energy toward training. And then 6 months into the move, my friends decided that they didn't want to be there, and they left me there by myself. I had no friends. Well, I had some acquaintances, but none that I could really trust. I had no family there. I really knew no one there, and I isolated myself in the house again. I went to work, and I went home, and I watched Lost on DVD, and I really didn't do anything for myself. I was in University of Phoenix online, so I had school, but it wasn't what I thought it would be. I wanted to be independent, and I thought that would make me happy, but it didn't. I was alone, and I didn't grow. Well, I did grow. I experienced things. I had therapy there. It's where I learned a lot about myself there. But eventually I had to move back home, and that's where I am right now. And I quit smoking 2 years ago, I think. I kept saying before that it was a year, but I really think it's 2. And I wanted to get back on track with my health. So I tried Piloxing. I tried Bosu. And then I just saw something about the 21-day fix, and I don't know, something clicked, so I did it. And then my friend and coach Jamie was like, you should really be a coach with your psychology background. So I was like, okay. And that's where I am now. Being a coach has opened my eyes to myself. It has given me a community that I feel like I belong to. It really changed my perspective. I'm a more positive person. I'm not dark. I am not stormy. I am not miserable anymore. I find happiness in something every single day. I'm brighter. I'm happier. I'm freer. I no longer fear that I am dying. It turned out I actually, years ago, felt lumps in the back of my neck, and I, attributed that to me dying, and I had brain tumors, but did I do anything about it? No. Not until a couple years ago, where I was like, okay, I got these lumps on the back of my neck. And she's like, they're lymph nodes because you have acne. So my whole life, I had been afraid of dying, and it was lymph nodes because I had acne. Yeah. That's a tough one to swallow, huh? You waste your life thinking that you're gonna die. You do nothing. You don't do the live like you're dying. You don't seize every day. You just hide. That was me. And that's not me anymore. I don't hide anymore. I'm still working through a lot of fears, but it's getting easier because the more fears I break, the stronger I become, the braver I become, the happier I become, the lighter I become, the freer I become. And it's all because I decided to become a Beachbody coach. And I'm accepted for who I am, for my past, for my dreams. I don't have to worry about what other people think about me. And I absolutely love it. And I just need to share it with everybody. Because we all deserve to feel accepted. We all deserve to feel free. We all deserve to not be afraid of who we are and let it shine. I mean, my spirit is so much lighter now. It's amazing after everything that I've been through. And it was all because I was afraid. And now I don't let that happen anymore. If I do feel afraid, I push through it. I don't bury myself in my fear and let it control me. I have the control. And you have the control. Whatever you think is holding you back, most likely it's 80% you. Because you're afraid, because you think you can't do it, because you don't believe in yourself. Well, guess what? I believe in you. So use that until you believe in yourself. And push yourself to where you want to go, because we all deserve to be happy. We all deserve to be free. We're all strong. Every failure we make, every failure that we take, we learn from, we get stronger. And that's what this has taught me. So, 20 minutes, sorry. I hope you watched the whole thing. If not, just a little bit, maybe. So, that's my story so far. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. And that's it for now. Have a great day. And I'll see you when I see you. Bye.